He was away, I was away, we were away, but now we're together. Of course, he sponsors lots of things we do here at WNST, including our WNST Tech Service, which kept everyone abreast of all the Justin Tucker news last week. He is Dennis Kolatzis from Coons Ford of Security Boulevard, host of the Sunday Sports Voice, but that is misleading because it is heard Thursdays from 3 until 5 here on WNST. What's going on, man? You're like chomping at the bit waiting for this Ravens thing to begin like all the rest of us, right?
Oh, no, absolutely. It's a great day to be alive, and looking forward to the season opening up. The news about Tucker, I was probably the only guy that tweeted out that it was nonsense, that he was mad, just negotiating, just agent speak, and the very next day they got the deal done. So all is well in Birdland for sure.
By the way, I didn't see the purpose in that, Dennis. I mean, what?
Yeah.
I didn't. Like, what kind of a headline is that from your agent? I mean, it really made me shake my head and say,
yeah.
Come on, man. I mean, it's business. You're either going to come to the number and you're all going to sing Kumbaya, or he's going to go out and kick this year, and he's going to kick for a contract. And if he kicks well, he'll go get a big contract. If he doesn't kick well, then he won't get a big contract. I mean, they'd already franchised him. They could have done it again. I just scratched my head. I mean, it was kind of like the day that Derek Mason retired on the internet. Remember that one?
Yep, absolutely. But I'm glad they got it done because we've had quite a gap between Matt Stover and Tucker, Justin Tucker. And you don't want to go through that again. We don't want to go through the Kundus and the Hauschkas and the missed field goals and all the drama and the heartaches. The guy was 4 from 10 from over 50 yards. Some of those field goals were really, really long, but from inside the 50, he's been money. Second most accurate kicker in NFL history. You know, he's got Sam Cook, and he's got the battery right there, the three guys that make up the kicking team.
The Wolfpack. They call themselves the Wolfpack. Yeah, that's what they are.
There was no way that they were going to let this guy get away from them. So we knew that. Ravens fans knew that, and it was much ado about nothing. It was just Adam Schefter trying to make headlines. That's all.
Well, I tell you what, it made some headlines over the week, and we haven't had a lot of headlines. And I guess, I talked to Luke about this earlier in the week, Dennis. This has been, the Trey Walker thing notwithstanding. I don't want to minimize that. But at least over the last 60 days, there haven't been any handcuffs. There hasn't been any Jimmy Smith and the Green Turtle. There haven't been any DUIs. There hasn't been any Chris McAllister getting pulled over in Fairfax in the middle of training camp. The biggest faux pas the whole offseason was Harbaugh putting the pads on the guys, right? That was the big controversy, right?
And they'll sign up for that every year. If that's the worst they'll do, they'll take it any day. No news is good news. John Harbaugh and Ozzie Newsome, they don't want their phone ringing at 2 o'clock in the morning for sure. It's not good news when the phone rings at that hour.
No doubt about it. All right, so, up on this, and I just want to bring this up because I've been back for 5-6 days from the beach, and I started noticing when the tickets started arriving. I'm a PSL holder. By the way, I haven't gotten my tickets yet. I don't know, but everybody else seems to be getting them and putting their pictures up on the internet. I know what the tickets look like, Dennis. And then there is this whole spate, and maybe it's just the time of the year, right, where people are selling their PSLs. People are reaching to me. They want to sell their tickets. They want to sell their PSLs. Maybe they need the money. Are you seeing a lot of that, or is it just on my timeline?
Yeah, it's still a handful. There's still a big 3,000-person waiting list for these tickets. About 11,000 people own the 72,000 PSLs, and that's why you still have a ton of demand with a very little supply. Now, I don't know what you're trying to get for these tickets, these people that you're seeing, but I think sometimes their economic situation dictates that they put them on the market. But by and large, it's still a very hot ticket. And when a team does well, these things tend to appreciate more. Like you have been a 20-year season ticket holder, there's no way I'm going to go from my PSLs under any circumstance, but I don't blame that some people face some hard economic times. And it's a good time to make a quick buck.
Well, I also, you sell after they win the Super Bowl. The PSLs are probably higher. I haven't looked at the market at all. I own 2 PSLs. Dennis, and this is the way I portrayed this in 1996. So this isn't new. This is me on the radio. You can go look it up, as they say, 20 years ago. I said at the time, I paid $500 for my PSL. Now, $500, it is what it is. And, back in 1996, it was more than $500 is today, right? But I remember buying my PSLs and thinking the team's going to be here for 20 years. I mean, my God, it's a $20 a year surcharge for the next 20 years, right? Like that's how I looked at it. I looked at it as $1 a game for the next 20 years, and that's kind of how it's worked out, really. Over, for me. Now, all that being said, I know people that spend $5-10 grand on PSL. I mean, do I want a boat or do I want a PSL?
Right.
A whole different question than what I had to answer. answer. I love my seats. I've never been the guy bitching about the PSL thing because I remember 13 years without football. But I guess to Christos in your family or Pete and my family here at NST, the younger people, the Ravens just kind of came off the boat for them, kind of the way the Colts and the Orioles did for you and me, right?
No question about it, Nestor. I bought 8 PSLs at $7.50 a piece. My wife shook her head. She said, "What are you doing? You're buying a license for the right to buy tickets?" She thought it was the worst thing ever. Now, after they appreciated it, she said, "Why didn't you buy more?" I didn't have the money to buy more back in the day, but it's been a heck of an investment. I didn't look at it the way that you did. Certainly, you had a foresight to see to narrow it down to $20 a year, but you're not going to go wrong buying these tickets. I still think they're going to appreciate even more as the years go on. If they've appreciated as much as they have in 20 years, what happens in the next 20 years? Particularly since the Ravens are a first-class competitive organization. They play to win. Steve Bisciotti is the 27th most valuable franchise in all of sports. It's worth a lot more money now than when he bought it. I think it's $2 billion now versus $600 million a few years ago when he bought it from Mark Modell. But it's just, to me, it's a no-lose proposition, even at today's market prices. These are things because of the few people that own these PSLs. They're going to continue to go up. They'll go up even more when they have championship years. Now,
do you know what your PSLs are worth, Dennis? Where are your seats? You said you had 8 seats, right? At $7.50 a piece. What are those PSLs worth now?
I want to say they're probably $3,000 a piece.
Really?
Yeah.
So my PSLs, I would make money on my. Well, I guess I would get more than $500. I got pretty decent seats too.
Oh yeah, you're going to get a lot more than $500. I mean, and that's you got the appreciation. Plus, you have the entertainment value gained for all the years.
Well, if that's true, then I really didn't spend $1 a game, right? I mean, literally,
exactly.
Right?
Exactly. You're not going to lose. And the other thing is, you're one of a select few people that own. I mean, 72,000 individuals do not own these tickets. It's about 11,000, and that's why they're able to maneuver and do certain things. And again, during tough economic times, they'll sell those tickets for a lot more money when Pittsburgh comes to town and with the high ticket, the Patriots or whoever you have. So you can still leverage and make money if that's your mindset. Certainly it's not my mindset or your mindset, but there's people in need out there. But there's no reason to get rid of your PSL if you don't have to.
Well, Dennis Kolodz is joining us here from Coons Ford of Security Boulevard. Of course, they sponsor our WNST text service. Dennis, while we're on this sort of management thing, because, I mean, you've run a business, I've run a business, the Yankees, I mean, and I find it fascinating. We're watching this series unfold now, and we can talk about the first place Orioles, and I know on Thursday's show, you'll be talking about the trading deadline and all that stuff. I think Luke and I will be joining you as well. For me with the Yankees, you talk about the commitment to winning year after year with the Ravens and why your PSLs have value. This is a real important fundamental question for the Yankees. After 2 decades, they have never had a fire sale. They have never sold off pieces. Brian Cashman has never made a trade in that direction. Brian Cashman has never been able to trade a veteran player in the pennant race to pick up someone that may be able to help them next year or the year after. That's clearly a big part of Major League Baseball now, right? Obviously, the Orioles are nothing right now if they don't have Tillman, Adam Jones, Chris Davis. These guys that came from other organizations that were cast off. The Yankees have that opportunity, and the management side, the ownership side says, whoa. We got a million Coons Fords out there giving us $10 million a year to put their signs up in our stadium. We have all these club-level seats, all these suites, all these behind home plate tickets. We're trying to get $500, $1,000 a game for the Minnesota Twins on a Tuesday night in New York City. We can't have that PR hit that we're throwing in the flag, giving up or whatever. And meanwhile, the baseball people are like, no, this is why we have to do it. This is a very interesting argument, I think, for the Yankees over the next 2 weeks.
Well, I think the way that you crystallize that argument, Nestor, is that people that make business decisions with their heart end up with heart disease. You've got to make business decisions as an organization. Look what's the best for the organization for today and also going forward. You can't make decisions with your heart because you put yourself backwards. So when you crystallize it like that, then the answer becomes crystal clear.
Well, I mean, to me, they have to deal off. And as a fan, if I were a Yankee fan, after 21 years of what they've done, to punt 1 year when it doesn't look good in the hopes that you're going to have 3 starting players on your team in 2018 or 19, I take that deal. And as a Ravens fan, they stunk last year, right? I mean, they did.
Absolutely.
And they got hurt. The game stunk. I remember back at the end of the Billick administration when that Packers game came in and Bowler outplayed Brett Favre in a meaningless 5-degree game. I mean, we've had bad games, we've had bad seasons, but by and large, on the whole, no one owes their fans less than the Yankees do at this point, right?
There's no question about it, Nestor. first year after 21 years to have a fire sale. I'm all in. I've had friends that after the Ravens won us the Super Bowl, they said, no, they've got 5 years now, which I thought was a little bit too long for my.
No, they had 5 minutes because the minute they dealt Anquan Bolden away
That's true.
for tissue paper, they wound up taking a hit, right? Literally.
No, they did, but there's a large portion of a fan base that will forgive an organization once they win a championship. And for the Yankees, for their their record and all the championships and all the playoffs that they're in year out, to have a fire sale where it makes sense to have a fire sale, knowledgeable, and they have a knowledgeable fan base. Let's face it, they've been there for a long time supporting this team. They get a free pass. In fact, they can get 2 or 3 free passes given their history.
Dennis Colossus here from Coons Ford of Security Bowl. What's going on out there, man? I mean, it's these hot summer days. You got those rolling thunderstorms coming through, but I'm sure you got some deals happening out there this summer with the Ford Motor Credit folks, right?
Yep, absolutely, Nestor. We're selling cars like crazy. The F-150, the best-selling vehicle of all time, is just flying off the shelf. We're the number 1 volume dealer on the East Coast. We have Mustangs for sale. We have people flying in, taking trains and buses from all over the country. They can save $2,000 or $3,000 over what their local dealers are saving them. All customers have to do is go online at www.coonsbaltimoreford or give us a call, 410-298-3800. And we are the deal makers. There's not many deals you'll see that we can't make.
Summertime in the big city. Dennis Colossus will be here from 3 until 5 on Thursday, driving you home. It is the SSV on WNST. You can also follow them on Twitter as well. Anything you want to say about the Orioles leading up to the trading deadline briefly here? I know you're going to talk 2 hours about this on Thursday, but
yeah.
That is the story. How can they improve the pitching? I see it. You see it. We all see it. It's going to take some real creativity on the part of Dan Duquette over the next 10 days.
Dan Duquette has done a decent job the last 4 years. So let's give him a chance to see what they can do. The front office has done a good job in keeping this team competitive. They're fun to watch, and if they can come up with a pitcher, let's see. And let's see what Dan Duquette can do. Maybe he can work some Orioles magic. He can rub off on him and get us that pitcher we need to put us over the top of the season.
We'll see if something magic happens. Birds in New York taking on the Yankees. And, of course, the Tribe, the first-place Tribe, headed to Baltimore this weekend to take on the Birds of Camden Yards. Dennis, we'll see you soon, my friend. Stay cool out there. It is air-conditioned there in the showroom at Coons Ford, right?
Yep, but we need a lot of AC for those red-hot deals that we give to people every single day.
Yeah, and I know you have cooled seats, too. My wife and you have explained this to me.
Yeah, I'm going to have to send my vehicle down to you. It's a different experience for sure. Thanks for the time, Nestor. Be well.
When I move to Phoenix, I'm getting some cooled seats.
It's an absolute must.
I don't mean Phoenix, Maryland either. All right, Dennis Colossus joining us here from Coons Ford, Security Boulevard, the SSV on WNST. You can follow them out on Twitter. And, of course, our text service. The best thing we do, breaking news happens first on the WNST text service. Subscribe at WNST.net. All brought to you by Coons Ford of Security Boulevard. You can email me anytime, nasty@WNST.net. I'm a very available individual. LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, wherever you are, we are. WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Towson, Baltimore. And we never stop talking Baltimore sports.